Namaskaram. On a chilly November morning, a couple of years ago, I was in North India. I had visited a local center, and after the morning satsang, they had asked me to give a talk. As I was going to talk, I asked the volunteer, how long should I speak? So he said, brother, you can speak as long as you want, but the Abhyasis, we live in 10 minutes for breakfast. I don't have that challenge here because half the crowd has already left for breakfast after I said that's all. So those who are inside, I think we'll spend some time going into few of the thoughts that I wanted to share which emerged in this satsang today. Prior to that, I don't know how many of you are aware, technically I am the son-in-law of Bangalore. But my wife jokingly says I'm outlawed in Bangalore because I hardly speak Kannada. Though I am speaking right now in English, you'll understand why, because if I speak Kannada, you might forget your own Kannada. Many of the times when I visit centers, the standard question that comes, how do we progress faster? And that was a thought that I wanted to take up and dive a bit deeper to share some of the insights that I have picked up. Being with two gurus over almost 30 years now, I have had the fortune and privilege of being with Charji Maharaj for almost 21-22 years till his Mahasamadhi. I continue to serve as the secretary to Daji, so that gives me a lot of exposure on how they do the work, and from that what I have picked up. Of course, Banashankari Ashram holds a very special place in my heart for several reasons. I have travelled here extensively with Charji Maharaj several times, and a few times he had deliberately sent me here before my marriage so that I could get closer to my wife, who was from Bangalore, who was also an Abhyasi. Of course, 1976, the year on which this ashram was inaugurated, almost the same time when Shahjahanpur ashram was inaugurated, also draws a lot of parallel to the importance that this place carries in my heart. When it comes to the progress that people ask, normally I just share what Babaji Maharaj shared many years ago, which you must have read. It's simple but not easy. Simple because what I share is something which is not going to be new, but packaged in a way that it might appear new, but it is something that our masters have shared over a period of time for several years. But the challenge comes in the implementation part, and that's what makes Sahajmar interesting and complex as well. How do I really progress? And for that, I have coined a very simple acronym which might be of use to you. The acronym goes as I, G, E and R. The I is where we begin the journey, or you can always recommence the journey. It doesn't matter how many years you have spent in Heartfulness or Sahajmar. You can always revisit the basics and see what we need to do to progress faster. The I here stands for intention. Daji has always been emphasizing in all his talks that it is the intent which of course arises out of the attitude that you carry to the progress. That is what determines what do you intend doing with the life that has been given to you. What do you intend doing with the association that we have got with the Master. I am using the word very clearly, association, because Babaji Maharaj has cautioned many times that I have many associates but very few Abhyasis. We have an association. How do we convert this association into something deeper? And for that, if my intent is clear, and if my intent is to progress faster towards the goal for which this human birth has been given to me, then the whole process becomes a bit much more easier for us. That takes us to the second letter in the acronym, what we call as G, or for goals. When your intention is clear, my intention could be to progress to the highest possible in this lifetime. The choice of progress is always given to the practitioner, The masters are always ready to take us to the highest level depending upon what you aspire for. If you have read Spiritual Anatomy and read the works of Babaji Maharaj or Charji Maharaj or Lalaji Maharaj, you will understand that you can set your goal based on what you choose. It doesn't have to be the highest. For example, if you have a very strong religious background from which you have come into the spiritual path, you can decide that moksha is sufficient for me. Whereas Babaji Maharaj says that moksha is something I can just give it to you in a single sitting if needed, if you are capable of taking it. Moksha literally means you have just crossed the heart region and moved to the mind region, and that you have just escaped the cycle of birth and rebirths. But in spirituality we go much beyond that. The goal being infinity, and if you have read Maxim 3, till we achieve complete oneness with God. Is your intention the highest that can be offered in this path, or you are not still clear? Every day before going to bed, the system offers you 10th maxim, which allows you to revisit the mistakes that you have made knowingly, unknowingly. That might not be just mistakes at a physical or a moral or any other level, but I see it as a mistakes that we commit spiritually. Spiritual in the sense, we do not know if we are going to live there tomorrow. This is the strangest thing in this world. If you have read the Mahabharata, when you have the Yakshaprakshan and Yudhishthira is asked, what is the strangest thing in this world? He says that everyone around me is dying all the time, but man thinks that he is going to live eternally. This is, he says, the strangest thing. If you are very clear that there is one statistics I was recently reading, which says that close to 1.5% of the people in this world do not wake up in the next day. Of course, there are a set of people who are children who are born to make up for it. But we need to be clear that this 10th maxim that we use should give us an insight to go back and revisit and check that have I progressed towards the goal for which I have taken this birth? Or am I meandering away from the goal? Am I spending too much time in all the diversions that are possible in this world, which has plenty of diversionary techniques which are available to you? It starts from your material life, it moves on to the entertainment that is surrounding you, it moves on to the politics, it moves on to the news, it moves on to the friends that you have. All that keeps diverting you from the goal for which you have taken birth. And satsangs like this, discussions like this, deliberations like this help us keep getting grounded that it's like a wake-up call. Every night when I go to bed with my prayer and prior to that doing the 10th maxim, it should remind me that today have I done sufficient to move towards the goal. When I look about goal setting, or the second letter in the acronym called G or goal, it depends on what you want to set the goal upon. Daji once gave a beautiful talk 5-6 years back in Kana, where he was giving inputs on how to set a goal in life. And he said, if you are really smart, set a goal in such a way that that one goal should help you to accomplish all the goals for which you are born in this world. And Charji Maharaj once gave a beautiful explanation for this, where he said it's like climbing Mount Everest. Mount Everest, which has a peak of about 29,000 feet, and once you reach there, that is supposed to be the highest of any mountains in this world, at least at an earthly plane. But while climbing the 29,000 feet, the first 100, 200, 500,000 feet, you will find so many distractions. He said in Himalayas, there are so many minerals which are available, diamonds that are available at the lowest level. You can get distracted, like the pleasures of life. But do I get distracted, or I say that this too should pass and then move on to the highest, is a question that we need to take. So coming back to the goal, we have 3 areas in which we can set a goal. For a person who is getting into the system for the first time, I will reverse the 3 M's here so that we get a better perspective. Anyone who gets into the system, the first point where they start is the method. Normally we are told about the master, mission and the method, but normally I prefer to go the ulta way, the method. The method offers you the highest possible reach in this one single lifetime. If you are able to set that goal as you progress through the method in achieving that goal, you start realizing that there is a mission which actually has come together to offer this method to me. And then slowly, as you find, it happened to me way back in 2005, this I had shared in one of the talks that I gave in Kana on Basant 2024, if you remember. I was sitting along with Charji Maharaj and the then Kamlesh Patel Daji Maharaj was also there. And casually we were all talking about the progress that we are all making. And Charji Maharaj looked at all of us and said, do you think I am giving you all progress for you to go back and settle in the brighter world? You all need to come back because I am preparing you for something, for a future where you need to come back and participate in this work. And within a couple of days I had a dream where it was very clear that within a period of time, say 100, 200, 300 years, I am going to come back with whoever that master is going to be there to continue to the work for which we have been prepared today. When I went and told Charji Maharaj that this is what had happened, and Daji was also in the room, he just smiled and patted me on the back and saying, you got an idea of what it is. So I understood that method is no more the goal at that point of time, and this method is to prepare us to serve him better. Serve what better? Serve the mission. Why do we have to serve the mission? Because if you really look at the way in which Sahaj Marg or the concept of Pranahuti disappeared long ago, during the time of Raja Dasarath, it is said that 72 generations prior to him, the concept of Pranahuti disappeared because whatever reason, the humans were not ready. And Lalaji Maharaj pulled it back and brought it to us so that it's available today for all of us. Many of us don't even know an era where Pranahuti was not available, because last 120 years this world has been enjoying, at least those who are ready to enjoy are enjoying the benefit of Pranahuti. What if the mission doesn't exist? What if the method dissipates and sort of dissolves into thin air? And that's when I understood that the importance of the mission is fundamental to the availability of the method to the future generations. If the mission is not there, who will propagate the method? So my goal somewhere around 2004-2005, after this incident, shifted that, not that I wasn't doing it before, but it gave me a very clear indication that now I need to start looking more at the mission. When I speak about the mission, some of the recent initiatives you must have already seen. There was a preceptor bulletin yesterday which came out, which preceptors may be aware, that Daji has undertaken a monumental reconstruction of Shahjahanpur Ashram, where he wants everyone to contribute. Not that it needs to be done out of force, but it needs to be done out of love, because it's an edifice for which I remember my time way back in 1999 when the Centenary Hall was inaugurated, coinciding with Babaji Maharaj's birth anniversary in Manapakam. We all had spent almost 6 months to a year, doing several volunteer work in the construction work. So when I used to walk around, even today in Manapakam, I can say with certainty that I was part of building up this wall, I was part of putting this roof, I was part of painting this place, I was part of doing the cottage and things like that. So when you participate, it's not about monetary participation alone, but monetary participation helps a lot. The next one, which obviously is coming up, is the 21st December. On the 21st of December, we are going to have the second International Day of Meditation, which to a great extent Daji has been instrumental in getting it approved from United Nations. The advantage, if you look at the other one, for example, the 21st June, which is the Yoga Day, the September 21st, which is the Peace Day, things like that are more generic, whereas International Meditation Day, which happens on 21st of December, henceforth every year, is something very unique, because we were fundamentally responsible for pushing it through our connects and taking it to the event to get it approved. So Daji in fact has come forward and said, for the mission to grow, for the system to grow and reach thousands and thousands of people, if not millions and more, the system has to spread faster. What better way then having something that will be worth talking about coinciding with the 21st of December. In fact, in case you are not aware, I would like to share with you that Daji is looking to create some kind of a record, maybe a Guinness record, for the number of concurrent YouTube participants on 21st of December. We are looking at about 2 million globally, and each of the state, specifically in India, because our strength of the mission even today is about 80% in India. It's about ensuring that each one of you on 21st, the timing and the details will be rolled out in a day's time or so, that we ensure that each one of us, maybe jokingly Daji said in one of the calls that he had with the RFs, regional facilitators, that it may be the first time that I'm going to ask everyone to keep their mobile on during satsang. I mean, normally you would have heard the announcement, no, switch off the mobile, please check, and all that, and still during satsang 2 mobiles rang, I heard that also. But this is the first time he is saying, please keep the mobile on and ensure you don't connect to an Wi-Fi, connect to a data, log in into YouTube, have concurrent views, and at the end everybody, and the best portion about this record that he wants to create, it's not about the record itself, it's about ensuring there is a sufficient awareness created about what meditation can do to humanity. And at the end, every participant, whether they are already practicing heartfulness or not, anybody can participate. It's open to all. It's open to the whole of humanity. It's about spreading the need for people to meditate in this world which needs peace more than ever. To ensure that the message goes everywhere, we need to reach as many as possible. For example, in Tamil Nadu, we are looking at least reaching out about 5 lakh people and creating the registration, so that these 5 lakh people individually log in on that specific day and create an awareness that yes, we were there on that day. They will also get a participation certificate. Coming back to the goal, that mission that where I diverted off, when you started working on your method to go towards the spiritual goal, at some point of time you understand that it is the mission which is offering me the service, and hence I will start doing something for the mission. And then you go a little bit deeper, and then you find that the whole thing is orchestrated by someone who for us is the master. And then we understand that my goal now from method moves to the mission, from mission it moves to the master himself. If I have to conduct my life, we ran this program in Tamil Nadu almost 3 times in the last 2 to 3 years. We gave them an option of living your life like a master for 100 days. It doesn't mean you ask for the key of the cottage and say that I'll come and settle here. It is to say that next 100 days I will live my life as if my life is guided from the master within. How will I meditate? I will meditate like the master. How will I interact with people? I will interact as if the master is interacting through me to the master who is outside of me. Every step, and we found that every time, this was of course a certification program, certificate of participation was given at the end. More than 1,500 people participated. Surprisingly, within a year, out of the 1,500 people, almost 400 people applied for SNP and became preceptor candidates. Because many of them came and said, brother, we found that there was an inner calling which was there all along that we didn't understand. And when we started doing this, we understood that one way to take up his work is to become a preceptor, and they came on board. Why am I sharing this? As I move on the ladder of progress, the only thing that personally matters to me today, at least from my point of view, what would make my master's message go throughout the world? What would make him eternally happier? Because many times when I bring up this topic, one question that always comes up is, you say that make a master happy. Why should I make him happy? Because after all, a master has to be happy, no? Why should I make him happy? I came across this question about 1.5 months back in one of the travels they had in a center in Tamil Nadu. I shared an answer there which might be pertinent to many of you, because it might still be an unanswered question in the hearts and minds of many of you. When I say that make the master happy, it is something purely personal between me and him. Please understand, there is a master who is available universally, and there is a master who is available between me and him. And between me and him, it is an evolving relationship. The master who is absolute He is neither happy nor unhappy because he is beyond dualities, because happiness or not being happy is part of a dvanta or heart region. Whereas when a master is at the absolute level, how can he be brought down to such a mundane level of existence? Then I understood this point many years ago, which I shared as an answer when this question came up. It is that my progress, my commitment to the system, my commitment to the practice, my commitment to him is what actually reflects on him and makes me understand whether he is happy or not. So when a master is unhappy, which means I am not happy with myself or what I am doing, is the answer that you need to look at. I'm not sure if you really completely go deeper into this. Please meditate over it. You will really get an answer, because that happiness is a transaction that happens between me and him. When I start making him happy, when the master is absolutely happy. When I answered this question, another Abhyasi asked me a question. How do I know that he is happy on a one-on-one level with me? I said, when you meet him next at a physical level, other than meeting him inside of your heart every time you meditate, you will automatically understand from that resonance that happens, that vibration that happens, whether he is happy with you or not. That one single look, that one single glance that he gives you, or in the transmission that you receive in a satsang during Bandara, that is sufficient confirmation for you to know whether he is happy with the work that you are doing upon yourself, which in turn will make him happy, happier and happiest, maybe at a higher level. So if we start understanding this, then I understand that my goals will keep evolving. So when Daji mentioned that the goal should be in such a way that it is the highest, and by achieving that you achieve all the goals, it's also a bit of a paradox, because in the last celebrations he also read a message out to all of us speaking about what happens beyond merger. He himself said for him it was a revelation that he thought that with merger everything is done, and then Babaji Maharaj told him merger is when the journey begins. So the goal keeps changing. Once Daji mentioned in one of the talks that in Sahajmarg, in Heartfulness, the beauty is that as you reach a goal, the goal evolves into something bigger for you. The gate opens to show you a bigger gate. They give you in a phased manner. They don't give you in one shot. The day you take your first sitting, a master will not appear in your dream or vision and tell you that the 13th point is your goal. As you progress, you will slowly find that the goal keeps changing. As you progress to higher regions, higher points, higher conditions, higher levels of character transformation, you will find that I need to do something better. And this is the beauty of our system, that nobody from outside needs to come and share with you what the change of goal is. There is something from inside which will guide you. I have given you till now 2 words, I and G. The third word is what really matters, which is the first 3 letters, if you really understand, I, G and E, are purely in my hands. When I speak about purely in my hands, it is something that is a reflection of the continuous change in attitude that I have. Do I want to move up the ladder? Do I move from the method to the mission to the master and maybe beyond? And once that happens, I am very clear that the third one is what actually takes me there. The E, which stands for efforts. Efforts is purely in my hands. All of us are blessed with something called as time. 24 hours a day is the same for the master, the same for you, the same for a functionary, the same for a preceptor, the same for a volunteer. But what they do with this 24 hours, how they deploy it, how much you really, if you're really clear of the goal. Once Charji Maharaj shared on how to manage time in a functionaries conference, he said if you're clear of the goal, then the allocation of time, which is other than the goal, is a waste of time. It was a very profound statement for me. If I have 24 hours in front of me, if my goal is very clear that it is to become one with the God or the Master, as I see mentioned in Maxim 3, then I very clearly understand that any other activity not aligned to that goal is a waste of time. Do I have it in me like a sculptor who mercilessly removes all the chinks in the stone which does not fit into his vision of what the statue should look like? He doesn't care the stone is going to feel bad that it is being chipped off. He just clears all of them so that the god or the goddess form that he has in his mind comes out of the stone and makes an appearance. Likewise, can we be merciless in removing all that which are not aligned with the goal? And this is where again 10th maxim and bedtime prayer helps us. When I connect back to the source in the night, I ask, have I used my day effectively? Have I aligned myself to the goal? Have I wasted my time in doing things, whether watching a movie on a OTT or spending time with my friends, which doesn't... I'm not saying entertainment is completely waste of time. Sometimes it's needed for all of us to get a whiff of fresh air. But when you are very clear that this activity, this time that I'm spending is not aligned. For example, if you take this center, Bangalore, and you want to spread the message of the master. And as you go to spread the message of the master, like how we are watching, say when we browse the web or watch a YouTube channel, we just deviate and go on, not even staying with where we actually begin. If you are able to do that very clearly and remove all that which is not needed, the efforts becomes very, very, very highly focused. One Charji Maharaj mentioned the efforts should be such that we become like Arjun, who had a shot at the eye of the bird. Every other archer was able to see everything but the eye of the bird, whereas Arjun saw only the eye of the bird, and he was the only one with the eye of the bird, as we all have read. And that, he said, is the kind of efforts that we need to bring to the goal. Once you bring that, the last letter, which I call as the results, actually is taken completely out of the picture. As Bhagavad Gita said, as Charji Maharaj has said, as Daji has said, results is purely his domain. We don't need to worry. Have I had a very good intention? Is my intention evolving into something better? Is my goal aligned to the intention of slowly moving up the ladder from method to the mission to the master and beyond? Are my efforts continuously being sharpened to offer the best that I can in reaching this goal? Then the result, please be rest assured, is guaranteed. Result is one thing we don't need to worry. Like the olden Gurukul time, whether you spend 10, 15, 20 years, each one will evolve differently. Somebody can reach the goal in 7 months like Lalaji Maharaj, somebody can reach the goal in 20 years, somebody can reach the goal in 35 years, doesn't matter. But as long as your efforts are aligned based on the goal, based on the intention, the results are therefore sure, guaranteed. This is something that the masters always progress. Let's not worry about that. With one small example, I will close my session. For example, I am leaving tomorrow from Bangalore to Chennai, and I go by road. I know where Chennai is, but I am very sure that I cannot see Chennai. Maximum I can see is about 100, 200, 300 meters when I am driving. If I navigate and drive that 300 meters very well, I am very certain that I am going to reach Chennai safely and as fast as possible. But if I start jumping out of my car and stand on the top of the car and look if I can see Chennai, this is what happens when you start focusing too much on the results. So just to give you a summary of what I shared with you, focus on your intention, convert it into a goal, give it the right efforts, and ensure that the efforts are not compromised at any cost. The results will be assured. Let's all pray that the progress that He wants to offer to all of us is not blocked because of our non-cooperation. Cooperation being the only element of our practice that Babaji mentioned once. The only thing that I need from Abhyasis is full cooperation and take whatever is given. Let's all reach what he has to offer to us in this lifetime. Thank you.